world elite. Hailing from the bayous of Louisiana, draped in purple and gold, Dylan, Jordan, and Marcus the Nightwolf are here to take over and show everybody what being an unfiltered podcast is all about. This is not a game. We are the world elite. You have been born. When it comes to LSU football and pro wrestling, you better come with respect, or no, we bring chaos with us. Bow down to the world elite.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the pod of your weekly unfiltered wrestling. Welcome to the World Elite Podcast, presented by ATB Network, powered by StreamYard, and sponsored by Wrestle Champs and 80s Tees. The host of the trio is back again, baby. Y'all's finally back from y'all vacation, and it seems like forever. The three of us are back together. I am Marcus. You can find me on Twitter at Marquis89_, and we got Dylan and Jordan. Welcome back. Dylan, I know you enjoyed your trip, but how you doing today? And Jordan, did you enjoy your vacation as well?
Yes, I did.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we got a special guest. We've been on a dilemma with this one for a while, but with her and her busy schedule, we've been watching her on AEW Dark a couple of times on YouTube. You can find her on SOS Pro Wrestling, Continental Championship Wrestling, Strange Hole Championship Wrestling. She's also the current, I would say to my Paul Heyman voice, but I'm just getting it back after having that sinus attack, the reigning, defending, undisputed Stranglehold Championship Wrestling Women's World Champion, hailing from Jacksonville, Florida. It's the Captain, Vicky Dreamboat, and we salute you.
What's good, everybody? Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we were finally all able to coordinate.
Absolutely.
Well, before
I
was going to say, before we split up and give you your questions for us, tell us a little bit about yourself, like what's going on with you today in wrestling right now. We see you on AEW Dark. We've seen you in Stranglehold Championship, or Stranglehold. Tell us a little bit about that right now.
Yeah, good question. So I actually just 2 days ago wrestled at IWN/Main Event Wrestling in Georgia. We were in Thomaston, Georgia. And I had like the insane, still kind of reeling from that because I was on the same card as Road Dogg Jesse James, Scott Steiner, Teddy Long, Tommy Dreamer. I need to like look at the list because there were some serious legends in this card. And so I was just like literally sharing a locker room with these guys, and fortunate enough to be in that situation. You know, being on AEW Dark is like the kind of thing where it's already a whirlwind because you're around all these insanely talented people, but to get on an indie show like that and then be surrounded by legends is crazy. So that's like my most current, like literally a couple days ago, it was like Saturday that happened. So I'm reeling from that, training hard. I'm going to head back to AEW Dark in the next couple months here, but I can't be specific about when. But otherwise, just living life, trying to crush it. Not quite there yet, but working hard to get there.
Awesome. Love to hear that. So we're going to start with Jordan first. He's got a series of questions to ask with you, and then we'll go to Dylan, and then we'll close it out with me. So Jordan, if you're ready, I'll hand it to you, man.
All right. Okay. What got you into wrestling?
Yeah, good question. So about 2 years ago, like towards the end of 2020, my good friend Dean Cooper, who's a wrestler, bought a wrestling ring, and my fiance Alex, Alexi Suplexi, and I, he let us know. He said, "Hey, if y'all come and y'all help me put the ring in the backyard, I'll train you." So we were like, "All right, bet." So we did that. But I wasn't really formally trained. It was more just kind of like I would roll around, and then the boys would wrestle, and I'd just like be around wrestling, but I didn't know anything, you know. I didn't even start watching wrestling until like 4 years ago. The first match that I ever saw was Undertaker versus Mankind Hell in a Cell, which is like quite a match to start off on. But after I saw that, I was like, obviously I was hooked, right? And so between kind of like being a backyarder, but not really, but kind of for a minute there, taking a year break, like I didn't do hard. I did 2 matches in 2021 until like towards the end there, and then finally decided to be a little bit more seriously because I was like, I want to do this while I'm young enough. Like I want to kind of see how far I can take this. Right? And so October of 2021, I went to the Nightmare Factory camp, and then I broke my foot in November of 2021 and was hurt for 4 months, and then finally got to get back on the horse in March. So my first match back was against Danica Della Rouge at SOS Pro Wrestling after being hurt for a long time. So I kind of feel like I didn't really start my wrestling career until then because I just didn't have a lot of like substantial live matches. I had 2 live matches before that, and I still am, less than 20 live matches in. But that's a very long answer to your question. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent there.
All right. Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
Yeah, so again, I started watching wrestling 4 years ago, so still Mick Foley is my favorite wrestler. I didn't watch wrestling growing up at all. It was a very, very different wrestling story than most people.
Okay. Other than wrestling, do you follow any other sports?
So I didn't until last year. I started watching football, kind of like for the first time because all the guys that I moved to Florida with are Green Bay Packers fans. They're from Wisconsin. So I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody by saying this. I'm like a Jaguars fan and a Packers fan because I live in Jacksonville. I saw the hat. I was like, yeah, I should have worn my Jaguars shirt. But now that we live in Jacksonville, we're like, super into supporting the Jaguars and the Packers. But it was very, very recent. So if you ask me to say like smart football things, it's a 0% chance I could do that.
Well, I got to just throw in here. I only have this because the running back they just drafted in 2021 grew up 10 miles from where I'm from. And I've seen him play high school football. I followed his high school and college career when he got drafted to the Jags. I was like, I'm going to get a hat and shirt to support him. No, we're all Saints fans, but I also grew up a Packers fan because Bret Hart was the reason I got into football.
Oh,
I love Brett
okay.
Favre. So
Brett Favre, yeah.
I got a little bit of cheese head in me too, but I'm always Saints. We all 3 are.
I think I'm like the most respectful football fan because it's so new to me. I could be wrong. There might be a more respectful one out there because, you get a little drunk and you get to a game and it might change things. But for the most part, I'm always like, that's cool, man. I think it's awesome. You like that team. Whereas other people are like, go Pack, go forever. Like, that's not my vibe.
All right, Jordan.
All right. This is my last question before I turn it over to Dylan. What is your goal for 2022?
Oh my gosh, what are we like? I'm just about halfway through. I would say that I would like to have at least 2 more matches on AEW Dark by the end of 2022. And I want to get 10,000 followers on Instagram, which sounds trifling, but let me tell you what, followers are kind of like currency these days. And I think that if I can do that, it means that I've established enough of a name of myself in the indie circuit and garnered enough respect to have enough people want to see what I'm doing. So that's it. That's all I got.
So real quick, before I hop into my questions, I want to thank you for being flexible with us. I was the one who booked you and had to reschedule multiple times. Our schedule has been crazy, family stuff, personal stuff. So real quick before I start, thank you for being very, very flexible with us. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I got you. No worries. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry that it was hard to coordinate, but I'm glad we got here. So it's all good.
Oh, for sure. Worries. Absolutely. So getting into wrestling, there's a lot of things you have to get through first. You have to get into a school. You got to train. You actually have to have that passion for it. Because we've talked to people before that have got into it and lost their passion like right away and decide to step away. But also another thing that really people go through is they have to tell their families that they want to get into this profession. And we've talked to so many people, and the moment they brought it up to their families, they thought it was foolish. They thought there was no career in it whatsoever. So what was your family's reaction whenever you got into it? Were they supportive? Were they on the fence about it? So what was it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My mother hates it when I send her my matches because she's like, can I swear on this podcast or no?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. She's like, why the fuck are you upside down so much? Like, you're going to get dropped on your head. Like, what is happening? Like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just wrestling. I don't know. She's like, why are you flipping and landing on your back? Stop it. You're going to die. but she also thinks it's really cool. My dad is really cool. Neither of them know anything about wrestling. So I'm like, oh yeah, Coach Cody Rhodes sent me a text to tell me good job about something. And they're like, who's that? And I'm like, what do you mean who's okay, let's back up. So it was never that they weren't supportive. They've always been very supportive. I've just had so many different careers because I'm 27. Like I've already had I have 3 degrees. I have a US Coast Guard certified captain's license. So like I've done a lot already in my life, which I'm very grateful for having all these opportunities. And I think for them, it's more just like, oh, good, you're adding another thing. You own an improv comedy theater with your fiance. You own a boat company. And now you're like, wrestling? All right. But they're super, super supportive. My extended family doesn't really get it, but that's okay.
Right. So kind of a two-parted question here. Is there any a time in a ring where you felt unsafe working with someone? And if you did, for a situation like that, how would you take action towards it?
Yeah, there is. I'm not going to name any names. I will say that I was wrestling somebody who either was maybe just like rusty or out of practice or something. And I kept on getting nailed in the face in a way where I was like, this is not what wrestling is about, because it's a contact sport. I have no trouble people making contact, but this person in particular was being very safe. And because this person, or being very unsafe rather, because this person was being unsafe, I just turned them around and I lit them up as and I was never trained to like shoot on anybody, but I was taught to defend myself. And so I said to this person, like, hey, do you want to work or do you want to fight? Because right now this is a real fight and that's not what we signed up for. And this person was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And that turned things around. That was the only time where I felt super unsafe because it was like, you just said you could do all these moves with me. Right. And you can't do any of them. And now I'm having to take the lead and I'm less than a year in. And I'm suddenly the one who's like in charge of the match. That's something ain't right about that. You're a veteran, like what's going on? And it's very hard because you want to maintain respect,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could not be in a situation where I would get hurt or where this person would get hurt. So that's the only other time. Otherwise, like every single person I've ever worked has been awesome. I've been super, super lucky aside from that one instance.
All right, so staying on the topic of things that could potentially lead to an injury as being unsafe in the ring. So during a match with all the momentum going on inside of a match, whose job is it to really know if someone is legit injured? Because like I said, the momentum, the one superstar could think, they're just playing with the injury, like they're not really hurt, so they're going to keep on keep attacking the person. So whose job is it to really know if someone's hurt to like stop that superstar from really going after that person who's hurt?
Yeah, good question. I would say that it is the responsibility of everyone in the ring to be taking care of each other. So like the referee is there, obviously, because of you won't have a referee because it's a sporting match, right? An athletic competition. But also like, sorry, I keep on like trying to get my hair up and my hairband broke. Also, if I'm not talking to my opponent, if my opponent or opponents are not talking to me, that's on all of us. Because it is, if I get hurt and I don't say anything, it is nobody else's fault but my own for not speaking up. And similarly, if I am not checking in on my opponent after something, like saying, okay, boom, like we're in a pin or whatever, are you okay? You good? You good? Then that is on me for not checking in with them and them not talking to me. So I would say that the responsibility falls on everybody. That's how you know you're working with professionals.
Right. So jumping into AEW, we mentioned that you've done some work with AEW Dark. You mentioned you have some work coming up. You're obviously not going to tell us who it is or what you got going on. But you've worked with names such as Robin Renegade, with Abaddon.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else, without spoiling anything for later on, is there anyone else in AEW that you would love to potentially work with one day? There's so many good names over there in that women's division. So
yeah, dude, I got a whole list. I'll try to make this brief. I would love to work Chris Statlander. I think she's amazing. I would love to work Nyla Rose. I think she's amazing. I want to work Thunder Rosa really bad, but I'm scared of her in a way where I'm like,
She on mute.
yeah, I think she muted herself.
Oh shit, she muted herself.
My head.
You're good.
The first 3 of them come off the top of my head. But I'm sure, like, honestly, the whole entire AEW women's roster is so good. It would be an honor to wrestle any one of them.
Right. So kind of staying on the topic of the dream match, I guess you want to call it, but jumping to the other promotion, obviously being WWE, the same question follows. Is there anyone from over there that you would love to work with? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, things muted again.
Yeah.
There we
Good.
go.
Am I back? Or are we
You guys,
live?
yeah,
Yeah, you
Okay.
good.
Sorry about
we're
that.
good.
Awesome. I would say that Becky Lynch is like Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair are probably my
Mhm.
top of the list. But not just WWE. With Impact, I would love to work with Mickey James. I think that would be so much fun. And Deonna Purrazzo is on the list too. Those are like the women right now where I'm like, if somebody said, Vicky, you get to have a match with these people, I'd be like, great. How much do I have to pay to do it? You don't even have to pay me. I'll be there. Just tell me when. They're gonna, it's a 1 minute match and they punch me in the face. Excellent. Like that is great. I do not care. And I know I sound like just like a super fan weirdo right now, but it is just one of those things where you're like, you watch somebody's career for a while and you want that for yourself. And so knowing that you could absorb that knowledge is really cool.
So this is my last question before I hand it off to Marcus. What advice would you give to someone who's actually interested in joining the art of professional wrestling?
Go to the Nightmare Factory beginner camp. You are not going to find any other school that will do a 12-week introductory course. You're not going to find better coaches than QT Marshall, Cody Rhodes, Luke Sampson, and Glacier. I mean, those are like four of the best, especially
Right.
a legend. Yeah, go to the Nightmare Factory beginner camp. I could go on and on. There's nowhere better to start.
All right, so you call yourself the captain. You kind of said it there. You kind of gave me my answer. You said you got a background with that. Tell us about about that.
Yeah, so I'm a U.S. Coast Guard licensed 100-ton inland merchant mariner credentialed captain. I was never in the Coast Guard. What that means is that the Coast Guard issued me a license to operate any vessel under 100 tons with draft. So that means, and it's not really about like the foot, it's all about the gross, they call it the gross regulatory tonnage, which refers to the weight. So some 100-ton boats are 100 feet, are about 200 feet. Some of them are 50 feet and they're just really, really hefty, you know? But I spent 5 years in Alaska working on boats. That's where I got all my sea time to get my captain's license. And I got that, I think 4 years ago. But I've been on boats for 8. So, you know, they
Wow.
say play what you know. So I truly live the gimmick.
So AEW now has a female captain and the other male captain, Sean Dean.
Sean Dean. I love Sean Dean. He's so cool. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think of Sean Dean as the other captain?
He's great. He's great.
Oh.
He's a very different kind of captain, but I respect the hell out of him.
All right. Yeah, I love his segments on the vlog. If you watch Sammy's vlog on YouTube, they're amazing.
So sweet. Sean Dean is really cool.
Now, your other name, Dreamboat. So that gave me a good question. Since you know a lot about boats and you love being on them, what's a dreamboat you've always wanted? I'm pretty sure it's a yacht, unless there's something else in mind.
Oh, that's so funny. I've actually literally never thought about that once in my entire life. Because I just assume that I'll work for people forever. I really like wooden boats, so I think like a wooden Nordic tug would be cool, or like another Tom Lee craft is the kind of boat that I worked on in Seattle, and there's only 12 of them in the world, and they're like just these beautiful, beautiful boats. So, but any wooden boat I'd be happy with, in spite of the fact that maintenance is a real pain in the ass.
And you do have a boat company, right? You say, tell us a little bit about the boat company.
Yeah, so I co-manage a company in Seattle called Candoray Cruising, and that's like cocktail and sightseeing cruises. But obviously, I live in Jacksonville, Florida. So the owner of that company and I just started a company here in Jacksonville called Splash Zone Adventures, and I have this super dope. It's the sweetest little 15-foot inflatable boat called a Tack-A-Cat, and we do like dolphin and sightseeing tours on there. I was just on the boat today doing a little repair, so it's really cool. I see dolphins every single day. It's super dope.
You've been around boats most of your life, so like I'm kind of the same way, except like my type of boats I would be like party barges or motor boats, like just to go out on the lake, just to go fishing or go to the sandbar, you know, have a drinking party, or even like to do the fun stuff like tubing and skiing, water skiing and parasailing and all that good shit. Do you like to do any of that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really hard time relaxing on boats because it's been my livelihood for the last 5 years on and off. So if I go on somebody else's boat, like I can't even get drunk because I'm just, the boat captain in me is so worried about like, what if something goes wrong? And if you are a captain, licensed captain, and something does go wrong in a boat, you're liable, even if you're just a passenger, which is scary. So I like all that stuff, but it is hard for me because it's one of those like, I'm not trying to come off like a jerk or anything. It's just one of those, like, I feel like a sense of responsibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Have you ever had any like fans, wrestlers, or even like announcers or commentators mix your name up with like Steamboat? They always
That's the
compare
whole
you with
point,
Ricky
man. It's
Steamboat.
Vicky the Captain Dreamboat, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Obviously, yeah, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, because
Everybody asks that question, and I'm like, yeah, the first answer, best answer. Like, it is always the most obvious thing, you know. I love Ricky Steamboat. I love him, and as soon as we came up with Vicky Dreamboat, I was like, I have to have it. It's perfect. But nobody's ever like, aside from people being like, "Are you related to Ricky Steamboat?" And I'm like, "No, I wish, but no, I'm sorry." Nobody's ever actually mixed it up.
I've had a feeling people have asked you that before, because every time I've
Mhm.
said your name, I may have accidentally said it to myself, like, wait, she's not Steamboat. Don't introduce her as
Yeah,
Steamboat. She's Dreamboat. So,
I will say
but
people do. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I'm good. I finished it right there.
Oh, okay. I will say people do sometimes say, "Hey, Steamboat, Steamboat," and it's not on purpose. It's just kind of like one of those. It sounds so similar, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's actually kind of an honor. I feel bad that I have to disappoint him when I correct him.
Have you ever met the guy?
No, no, I would
Not
love
yet.
to. There's a chance that I might meet him in a month or so if I play all my cards right, but we'll see. If I do, you best believe it'll be all over my Instagram.
It's crazy too, like how old he is right now. He could still go in the ring. I remember watching him at WrestleMania when he was like almost 60 with Chris Jericho, and he was hanging in there with Jericho, and it was like, wow, you just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. You're like over 60 years old, and you're still wrestling like you're in your prime. Like there's only
It's
one
crazy.
dragon,
So
Steamboat.
crazy.
Now, I heard something interesting when I was watching both of your matches on Dark. Taz or Excalibur kept bringing up that your father was a college football player back in the day.
Nope.
No, so that
No,
was false.
they were just making shit up. They were doing what Taz and Excalibur do. Everybody's asking me that too. I'm like, nah, man. Like, all you gotta do
Wow.
is Google it to find out that ain't true. That's
Well,
0% truth in that.
why do they want to lie to people like that? That's not even cool.
Oh, it's fine. It's just their thing that they do. I was kind of bummed out because I was like, I submitted information. I was like, tell them other stuff that's true. I feel like it's such an interesting fact that I'm like a real life boat captain, you know. But I also love those guys. I respect the hell out of them. And so if they're saying anything about me, real or false, I know that I'm in a good position.
Now, this is kind of a funny question. Whenever I was like, okay, you're the captain. So this kind of gave me a funny question for you. What would you rather, Captain America or Captain Marvel?
Captain America.
Oh, that was the easy one right there.
Captain America. Nope. Captain America all day, every day.
So that must be your overall favorite Avenger or superhero?
Yep. 1,000,000%. It's hard. I don't know if he's my favorite superhero, but he's up there. I mean, gun to my head, it's always Captain America. I love
Awesome.
Captain America. Big
So
Captain America guy.
So you're the current women's champion right now. You won it back at Memorial Day weekend. Explain what that was like that event, the superstar you worked with took the title from. What was that whole vibe like?
Yeah, so I had the honor of wrestling Brandy Scotch Baker at Stranglehold Championship Wrestling at MomoCon, and she dropped the title to me. The match was probably the most watched match at MomoCon, if not, maybe not the absolute most watched, but it was up there. Like, we had a huge crowd. And you know how convention wrestling is, right? It's like, oh, you got 20 people, you got 50. We had like 100 or so around the ring to start, and then it just kept on going up from there. And I couldn't tell you a real number because I was busy getting my head bashed into stuff. But I looked around at one point, and the noise, like the pops that we got, were just deafening. So it was really cool. It was a very cool experience. I can't say enough good things about the people at Stranglehold.
In fact, if you also do some work with AEW, would you like to even do some work for Ring of Honor, since Tony Khan also owns that?
Yeah, I would work anywhere. Totally. I think Ring of Honor is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely amazing. And this would be my last question. You might have already answered it, but what was your favorite match you've ever wrestled so far?
Man, that's really hard. I got to wrestle Marina Tucker at Pro Wrestling Action, and that was super, super awesome. Wrestling Abaddon was awesome. I would say those, and then wrestling Shalante Royal was so cool too, and that was at MomoCon. So I would say those are like my top 3 right now.
Awesome. Now, if I want to, is your match available on YouTube right now where you won the title? If
It's
it is,
actually
what would I have to type in?
just all you got to do is actually go up to go to the Vicky Dreamboat YouTube page. I have an entire playlist that has all of my matches, but Stranglehold Championship Wrestling is what you need to type in, and then just type in Vicky Dreamboat. And that particular match will be up next week. So they've been kind of slowly. Right. They had tons of matches, so they're not all released yet. You can watch the match with Royal there. You can watch the match that I had, the first match I had with Brandy Scotch Baker. I also got to wrestle Piper and Deems. That was really cool. In a tag match with Chris Sanderson, who's my intergender tag partner. He's super cool too. But yeah, just go to the Vicky Dreamboat YouTube page, click on the matches playlist, and keep an eye on it. I'll also announce it on my Instagram and my Twitter once it comes out.
Awesome. I will definitely check that out. But Vicky, thank you again for coming on. I know it's been hectic trying to get it scheduled, and we got you on, and this was a great success. Can't wait till the episode is dropped, and we're going to re-listen to it and even rewatch it on our YouTube channel as well. But before we let you go, let them know where they can find you on social media.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for giving me the chance to do that. So on Twitter, I'm just at Vicky Dreamboat. On Facebook, I'm at Vicky Dreamboat. On Instagram, I'm at Vicky Dreamboat. And on TikTok, I'm at Vicky Dreamboat. You can also email me for booking inquiries. It's vickydreamboat@gmail.com.
Awesome. Dylan, Jordan, y'all got any last words?
No, just like I said, once again, thank you for joining us. I know it was so hectic getting you on, the rescheduling and everything. But yeah, thank you for being flexible with us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, Jordan. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Of course, be sure to subscribe to us on all audio platforms. We're on Spotify, Google Pod, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. We're also on YouTube and on Facebook. Our live streams presented by StreamYard or anytime on demand on Facebook or YouTube. We're also on Instagram. Twitter, you can follow us at World Elite Pod. Shout out to all our sponsors. Wrestle Champs, the mobile game. Go on any iOS or Android device. Download it and type in our code World Elite Pod 1 to redeem 5 free move cards. For 80s Tees, go to 80stees.com. Type in our promo code World Elite to get 30% off your order in that one. And this is the World Elite Podcast presented by ATB Network. Thank you again, Vicky. Good luck in your near future. And we wish you nothing but the best. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.